just do it. Hey everyone, it's Danganronpa here. I am the ultimate podcaster. We'll thing there first we're talking about. And I'm with my guest today. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm WiiFan2009 on fanfiction.net, an archive of our own. I'm the author of the Gaidenverse Danganronpa fix.
So how do you come up with that name? That series?
So I made this up when I was in middle school. I really liked the Wii, and around the time I came up with it, there were rumors circulating on the internet that the Spider-Man 4 Sam Raimi movie was going to be coming out in 2009. So those two things together, I put them together and made the WiiFan2009. After that, I just never saw a reason to come up with another name.
Cool. That's cool. I meant your Gaidenverse name.
Oh, sorry.
We'll talk about names. My name is literally the city I grew up in, year I graduated high school.
Ah, cool. All right. So coming up with the Gaidenverse. Basically, when I wrote my novelization of Trigger Happy Havoc, or my rewrite of it,
which I'm still working on.
Okay. I'd originally named it The Ultimate Detective and the Ultimate Hope, since it was centered around Naigiri. Then I started writing other side stories that took place after it, and I called those Gaiden because they're side stories.
Okay.
And fairly recently, one of my regular reviewers started calling it the Gaidenverse, and the name just stuck.
Nice. So, I from what I think, most of your stories focus around Naigiri. Favorite, that your favorite pairing?
Yes.
Well, I like them too. It is the only pairing, canon pairing that actually lasted all the games and the series. Of the main character and their the other ones both died. Well, depending on who you pair the main character with, obviously, but
yeah.
So you have an original character called Kiki. Where'd she come about?
So basically, like, when I was coming up with her name, I looked at the kanji that made up Makoto and Kyoko's names. And I just mixed and matched the readings for them until I found one that I liked.
Is he the focal point of your stories now?
Well, whenever all of Makoto and Kyoko's children end up being born, eventually I do want all of them to have equal time in the spotlight. But seeing as right now, Mokubo is just an infant, and her other siblings haven't even been born yet. For all intents and purposes, he is more or less the main character at this point in the timeline.
Sorry you can't be here yet. Hopefully your thing will get updated. So you basically you're gonna have a series based on Kiki and a series based on Mokubo, or how you pronounce his name?
Mokubo. Think like Mokuba from Yu-Gi-Oh, but change the A to an O.
Well, named after Makoto. Sounds like Makoto.
Yes. Yeah, I guess it does sound a little bit like that.
So I guess I'll talk about my series a bit.
Sure.
Well, my ideas for the series has changed throughout from when I first started it to new ideas. It gradually evolved. First, it was basically getting Hajime to join the class, and then I'm like, might as well. I think Natsumi got a world deal. She her little one bit with Hajime before she died was she was breaking down and crying. It was nice too. So I'm gonna include her in the story too. Then and then I wanted to what I felt was a big flaw in the anime series. You've seen the anime series, right?
Not like front to back, but I've seen enough that I know the basic plot points.
Well, I wanted. Well, I like Chalky, right? But I always thought it was weird that. Well, it's sad too that her dying was the only nail in the coffin that corrupted her classmates, right? Besides brainwashing stuff. So I triggered, one, it's not the only nail, but the final, the fall that so you said should be that her dying should be the final nail, like Junko, like manipulate them a bit by bit. Like first, my series first starting with Kazumi, then later Hiyoko, then manipulate them until finally she pulled the final trigger. And two, in the series at least, they never really established how deep the bond with them and her was, And so I tried to explain that bond, how because they told you it was like, oh, she did this, he did that. Here's some flashbacks of pictures and stuff, but the show never really. I guess they can't do it in 10 episodes. The show never really explained, how she cared for her class or why or when, So I'm like, so I laid those seeds in there. So when it got taken away from them, they like fell apart. But unlike the series, however, I kept her alive because personally, I still cannot watch the episode 10. I still cannot watch it. I tried listening to it, and it still like hurt my brain. Made me cry on the inside. I guess I'm just over emotional about stuff like that.
I see.
Oh, thinking of that. How did you feel when you saw Kyoko fake die in episode 9?
Well, it was definitely one of the more heart-wrenching scenes. But like I'm not necessarily someone who really is outwardly expressive that much. So like it is very hard to get me to shed tears at all. But yeah, it was definitely one of the more heart-wrenching scenes in the series.
Okay, Kenny. Not sure we're talking about dinosaurs here, but good for your opinion on that, whatever you're talking about. Whatever you're talking about. Crazy trolls. Whatever you're talking about. Crazy trolls. I hear an echo. I hear an echo. Huh. You have any speakers on or something?
No. I think that I had like another tab playing the video as well, but I just closed it.
Okay, yeah, I've done that before too. I'm like, yesterday when my friend was streaming, I was on the stream for a second. I'm like, I hear an echo for some reason. Oh yeah, my stream is playing. Are you watching the chat right now?
I just turned on the comments, and yes, I do see the comments that Penny Hornrickson is leaving.
Okay, moving on. So, hello, Shy. You want to talk about your series in the chat? Unless you can, if you want to move on to the more important subject and fake dinosaurs and the flat Earth theory. So, well, thank you again. What made you gravitate towards Nigiri in your stories?
I'm not really sure if I can point to like any specific reason. I've never really thought about why. I just did.
He's got like I like basically I just like these guys.
Yeah, pretty much.
I recently played the game for the first time. I'm still I'm done recording it. I'm still uploading it on YouTube, and really got me was Nigiri's final free time event. You know, and what he said really, where he said, next person that I take my glove off for, I consider family, you know, and that made that scene, you know, before she died, episode 9, you know, to me much more impactful when she took her glove off to hold his hand.
Yeah, her final free time event is actually to some degree referenced in the first story arc of my Nigiri origin fic, the one that you haven't gotten to yet, where Makoto and Kyoko tell Kiki how they met and fell in love.
The bedtime story series.
Yeah, that one is my longest fic to date.
Yeah, the series I just finished, the Hope Peak Saga, was my longest series to date. Would have been longer if I could write longer chapters, but so Shy, if you can hear, what made you write your let's see, what was it? Oh, your Blue Rewind series. Yeah, as you start the talk, like, so how did you get in Danganronpa anyways?
So let's see. I remember last year I had I was home alone for about a week, and I I saw the first two games on the PlayStation Store because I had a PS4, and I remembered seeing the mascot Monokuma a couple times, and um, and so before I got it, I gave the initial anime a watch because it was still up on YouTube reliably.
The original Danganronpa anime, first game anime.
Yeah, and I was intrigued enough by it that I decided to try out the full game experience.
Nice. I randomly found a Let's Player doing it on YouTube, and so unfortunately, my first playthrough wasn't blind like some people's were. So, but yeah, the characters, just got to me. It's like, so it's this game, second game, and then the spin-off in the third game. So I know I know Shai's doing this in her series, but have you ever done the spin-off game, The Spare Girls?
I am in the process of playing it. I am on chapter 4.
So you haven't got to the part where you can write about it yet?
Not in detail, at least.
So future when Kiki asks, Aunt Kamaru, what happened to you during all this time?
Yeah. Well, I have a fic planned where Kiki will learn about the events of the tragedy when she's in middle school.
Too young to do right now.
Yeah. She's only 6 at this point. And I'm sure it's not necessarily a conversation her parents are eager to have with her, considering the memories.
So it's like, hey, honey, I'll tell you the time that your father fell down a trash chute and almost got smashed.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to be like that.
So, are you planning to give Kiki a talent in the future? Spoilers.
No, my headcanon for this series, and you'll find this out later in one of my other fics, but it's relatively minor, so I can say it. I headcanon that when Makoto rebuilt Hope's Peak Academy and took over as the new headmaster, he decided to abolish the old talent system.
Okay.
Because he recognized that disconnect between the main course and the reserve course, because of the talent system, it is what enabled Junko to start the tragedy in the first place.
Right, corrupting the feelings of the reserve course.
Yeah.
Because again, some of the in the series have some of the talented people were a little prickish. Juzo and Kameda for one.
Yeah.
Because his mind was warped anyway. It's like he says apparently he was trash, but apparently he was the highest quality trash.
Yeah.
Trash compared to the other talented people, but like way better than the reserve course. So, do the other besides Kamaro's story and of Prey Girls, do the story of DR2 and DRV3 affect your guide universe at all?
Yep. Yep. Wait. Well, there are definitely Danganronpa 2 characters that definitely make large appearances in the Gaiden verse, and V3, the main cast that does appear, but not in the same continuity as the events of V3. So they make different appearances from their game counterparts.
Sweet. So how far have you planned your series thus far in advance, or you just write episodes as you come to your head?
Yeah. So I do have some like general story arc ideas for the future. I just haven't planned out every single detail. A lot of this is kind of like by ear, and I have a tendency to like jump around my timeline.
Yeah, I do too. I have some basic ideas, but then like I remember this but then my brain like, oh, gotta do this now. I try to keep some synthesis of the outline down, but it's just sometimes I get them to your head and you're just like, I gotta do this. Like with my my series, just for a while, kind of, but like in my new series, spoilers, I'm adding Digimon to Danganronpa.
Yes, I did read your latest chapter.
Yeah, I figured, hey, if they're digital, why not have some digital friends?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Sounds reasonable, and without spoiling too much, I can say that like later on in the future, once Kiki and Mokubo reach adulthood, there will be some Ace Attorney crossover, because what one of my more recent followers who also writes a Naigiri fanfic series. Her name's Moilaru. She's a big fan of the Ace Attorney games. So like I figured set some element of Ace Attorney crossover would be a nice little it would be a nice little thank you for supporting me and my fix gift.
Nice. Funny story about Ace Attorney. The same YouTuber that I discovered Danganronpa through is the same. It's the same way I discovered Ace Attorney series.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I have the first trilogy on my Switch, but I just haven't fully beaten it yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to buy the Switch trilogy, but then this year lack of money and all. Plus, I still got like 20 games on backlog. I still gotta play too.
Yeah. So many things to do, not enough hours in a day.
Yeah. So, who are your favorite characters in the second game? Do you have any?
in the second game, I would say that that like in terms of writing, I find Sonia and Gundam very fun to write.
I wrote my second or third fanfic, and was a Sonia fic.
Ah, cool.
It's called The Sleepover.
Oh, that's interesting.
And what about the third game?
Let's see. Well, as far as V3, the only characters for it at this point that I've written to a decent extent are Maki and Kaito, and one of my regular followers brought up the point that that Maki's personality is actually very similar to Kyoko's, and Kaito can be a bit fun to write with his occasional catchphrase like "I'm Kaito Momota, luminary of the stars."
Yeah, he is funny. I not very canon, but I wrote kind of one of the fanfics was called Survivors. It was kind of like a Shuichi Maki fic, because that they survived the thing and they're trying to like cope with the reality of living now. Will they help? Will they look after Himiko on the side?
Yeah, that actually reminds me of a fic I read by another fanfic author who's known as Hunter of Comedy, and they actually wrote a couple of fics where like they take place after the events of V3, and it shows Shuichi and Maki kind of like getting into a relationship with each other, while still trying to get over their affections for Kaede and Kaito, respectively.
Nice. Check it out. I gotta check it out. Yeah, it's a lot of series to catch up on. I'm still trying to catch up on your series. It's a long. I should have started a little earlier. I know you existed back then, so kind of hard to.
Yeah, I think last I checked, at this point you're like halfway-ish through chapter 4.
Yeah, chapter 4 of the first game. Or
yeah,
as I kind of joked and nicknamed it, the dark chapter in the Nagiri relationship.
Yeah. Well, I might argue that chapter 5 is even darker.
But well, at least they are talking at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. Although chapter 4, Makoto didn't have to deal with Kyoko trying to use him as a scapegoat in the class trial.
That's true. Even though she felt like, I don't think personally, I don't think she meant to do that. She's just.
Yeah. It was basically just like a way to stall for time until they could expose the mastermind. But Monokuma got desperate.
So speaking of mastermind and stuff, is there any people in any character in Danganronpa that you really don't like at all, very much?
I don't think there's anyone I particularly despise. It's very hard to get me to intensely like or dislike someone.
Okay. Well, besides Junko, in my opinion, at least, I really don't like whose reason. Everyone else's reason, for killing is bad, but kind of like, simplifies a little bit. A person I never did like the killing was the mask guy. I can't pronounce his name, but the mask guy in V3.
See. Are you talking about Kurikyo?
Yeah, Kurikyo. Like his reason for killing was like what? Huh? It's because I want to be friends with my sister. I'm crazy. Yeah, I never felt any sympathy for him dying.
Yeah.
Everyone else, some a little bit. Yeah, the other guy, not as bad. They really bring up the point in the game was maybe Leon. He's defending himself. The first they brought up a good point in the game. Like, yeah, you went out of your way to go after she locked herself in the room. You went out of your way to go over there, get your toolkit, come back, open the door, and stab her. Yeah, it was a little less self-defense at that point.
Yeah, I've actually read what one or two other fics that like try to like explain that like unknown period in between. Like I've seen one explanation where it was basically Leon opened the door to like try to like talk to Sayaka and get her to like calm down, but like in trying to like wrestle the knife out of her hands, that's when he ended up accidentally stabbing her, which counts as a murder by Monokuma's rules, but it does kind of give plausibility to Leon's claim that he never actually meant to kill her, and makes him more of a sympathetic character at that point.
Yeah, that's an interesting take on it. Yeah, I mean, the sad point in all three games was one. It was the first game. It was the aftermath of Sakura's death, when Hina is like breaking down, trying to kill everybody. After she committed suicide. And the second game, it was right before Peko got executed. When Fuhiko finally revealed his feelings for her. And then the third game was when Himiko started crying after the execution, and her friends Tenko and Angie. Like I said, my mind's like over emotional sometimes.
Yeah. I'll admit, at first, I did not really like Himiko. I thought she was just far too inexpressive for me to care about her, until we reached the Chapter 3 trial. At that point, she became a much more interesting character, in my opinion.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, I think like V3 had the least amount of survivors, and DR2 had the most amount of survivors.
Yeah. Yeah. V3 had just 3 survivors: Shuichi, Maki, and Himiko. Danganronpa 1 had Makoto, Kyoko, Byakuya, Hina, Toko, and Hiro.
6.
And
DR2 had everyone but Chalky.
yes.
Because you don't know. Well, first you think there's only 5 survivors, but then you realize they all technically survived because they're all still alive technically. Yeah. I think both Junko and Chalky are the only people that have died twice, both the original and AI forms.
Yeah, that. Yeah, I never actually thought about that before, but now that you say that, you're kind of right.
Yeah, because technically, I think that could have been said the same for Alter Ego and Chihiro, but he's later on in the second game, you know, so he's kind of, I guess, his AI survived.
Yeah, Alter Ego ended up surviving.
Nice. So, hey, what's your opinion on the main story of V3? I personally didn't like it that much. I still I still, at least in my head canon, it wasn't a TV show. It was a lie that Snooki said. What's your opinion?
Well,
Or you never thought about it?
Well, I do like Shuichi's famous line during the argument armament that that fiction has the power to change the world. I think that's very inspiring. I think it would be easier for me to have a more definite opinion about V3's storyline overall if the last trial weren't 4 freaking hours long.
Yeah. At that game, I think that was also another really good. I liked for my background for my series. You know, was I preferred the bonus game more like the actual game. I think kind of where all 3 classes were interacting at Hope Speak in that talent game.
Yeah, I've actually never played that bonus mode.
Cool. You should check it out. Having all the classes interact with each other, it's funny. I think my favorite interactions is Himiko and Gundam.
Ah, interesting.
Where she's like, they're both talking about magic, you know, because Gundam's like a dark wizard sorcerer. Himiko's like, "Wow, you're intense, but at least you understand that I'm a mage." Oh, and then the other one where Himiko, Tenko, and Chucky are talking, and Chucky's like, mages are very important in RPGs. Thank you for your patronage. Oh, and the funniest one was Hajime, Shuichi, and Makoto talking about how they like giving gifts to their classmates.
Ah, cool.
Little pun on like the gift giving thing. Ever since personally, I don't like the V3's ending, but I do like most of the characters in the ultimate. Yeah, so do I. Sorry. So Blue Rewind was actually inspired by the other time travel fic Neverland of Black and White. It was how it didn't continue, so I used it as a base and started. And talking about you, then WiiFan commented on it, and I was like, oh my god, since he's like the person who's fanfics I tend to read a ton, I carried on at Kiki as a bonus. Oh yeah. Apparently, yeah. Between my series in the future and her series, your character Kiki is doing a lot of crossovers now.
Yeah. Yeah. I certainly don't mind that. Feel free to use her as you please.
Awesome. I think I talked about this the thing. Have you ever seen the Steins Gate series?
I have heard of it. I have not seen or played it.
Well, funny talking about reminds me talking about you're talking about Ace Attorney earlier. Like, there's a character in Ace Attorney. In the new game, Susato. She has the same Japanese voice actress as Chalky, and so does this other character in Steins Gate called Maya, or not Maya. Maya. I can't pronounce her name now either. I can't remember her name. But yeah, they all have the same Japanese voice actress.
Ah, cool.
Yeah, and there's this character. Yeah. But she has in a FNAF game, she has a daughter in the future called Kaguri, and I figured growing up in my series, she'd be an awesome playmate for Kiki in the future. Yes, that was her name in this thing. Then I thought about the past and future when I made the arc called the Glitch Arc. I like Makuro, and they're talking to Junko. So it's not insane. Yeah, I like that. Oh yeah, yeah. The Makuro. So did you ever read Makuro? Train good. Did you ever read the IF and Danganronpa 2?
I know of it. I have not actually read it myself.
Oh, you should check it out if you can. It's awesome. Redemption story from Makuro. Yeah, after they really killed her character by having her poke rods in or spike or whatever needles in Yukizomi's head. I get the feeling and concerned about Makoto since you're hurting her on purpose. I can't let Kyoko die. She's my favorite character. Makoto's my second. I don't have the ending. I want to do an ending for VR. Oh. So did you keep this main stuff in your story's canon, or have you like the main plot elements in the DR canon in your stories, or have you like spin off? If you like change them a little bit?
So let's see. And as far as like potential crossovers, what happens in the Gaidenverse stays in the Gaidenverse. So, so Kiki's appearances in either of your fics are I don't consider canon to the Gaidenverse timeline. I'm just kind of letting letting my followers borrow her name for their own purposes.
Okay. So you've gotten a request to write. So you've gotten a lot of you've got at least 40 requests to write story one shots for other people.
Yes, but not all of them I can get to right away, just because they take too far in the future of the timeline, which I haven't written yet.
Okay, but so it's like, yeah, I've written 3 one shots. One of them I wrote for Shy, based on Blue Rewind. She asked, I wrote another one shot for another character, and Shy's like, "Hey, can you write my one shot?" I'm like, "Sure." She asked nicely, and that was Blue. I called it Blue Rewind AU, I think. Where her glitch series, you know, like I made it effective in my version of her timeline. I made it defect in her series, defected the past and affected the future at all. But in my thing, I had affect the future. You know, like the changes they made, you know, affected their future.
Ah, okay.
Well, for the people looking for, here is here is a link to WiiFans thing series. Find that people. Here is a link to EmGodess's series. And here's a link to my series. For anyone interested in checking them out in the future. Oh, EmGoddess, how'd you come up with your name for your pin name? We talked about our pin names earlier. So Emerald Goddess. I was like thinking, Goddess. It felt too long, so I did clan tag EM and come up with Goddess. Nice. Well, so you want to reveal anything about the future of your series that, or you want to leave it for leave it spoiler free for people in the future?
Let's see. I will say that I intend for my Gaiden verse to continue up to Makoto and Kyoko's eventual deaths.
So maybe some grandkids in the future?
Yes.
Nice. You know, I thought of a funny story in the future where, survivors, of course, where I think where Suichi was the son of Kyoko and Nagi, and Kaede was the daughter of Hajime and Chaki. They got together.
First time I've heard that one before.
It's a funny story where the generations meet up and like combine together.
I remember when I posted the fic where Kiki was born. One reviewer commented that they were expecting Kiki to be a boy named Shuichi. So there is kind of a sort of fan expectation that that Shuichi is the son of Makoto and Kyoko.
Kind of makes sense having Shuichi following in his mother's footsteps. After all, as Kirigiri said, it's in their blood.
Yep.
Yeah. I have. Hey, what's your opinion on her grandfather? Good character, like under emotional or what?
Fujito?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Well, I will say that in my Gaiden verse, I do give Fujito an eventual redemption arc. So I do believe he has the potential to learn from his mistakes. Just his stubbornness and Kirigiri pride tend to get in the way of that.
So, in your series, is Kirigiri still prideful like she used to be, or she mellowed out a little bit?
No, she kind of gave up. So like my headcanon is that Kyoko basically gave up a lot of her pride after the events of chapter 5 of Sugar Happy Havoc, because because she realized her pride and practice as a Kirigiri detective, putting solving the case above all else, nearly got Makoto killed, and in my head canon that did not sit right with her. So it basically leads her in the future to basically abandon her pride as a kirigiri.
Nice. Yeah, I kind of did that in my series too a little bit. I always thought they made a good. I think I mentioned this in one of your comment sections, but I always thought they made a good yin yang pair where Makoto helps Kyoko help Kyoko learn that showing some emotion isn't the end of the world. She can open up herself, and where Kyoko holds back Makoto from going crazy and acting without thinking sometimes.
Yeah. The two definitely tend to balance each other out.
I'm not sure if any other of the other pairings in the other 3-4 games really do that much. I would be interested in seeing what they'd be like. I think I've seen some people try to do it on YouTube, whatever games, but I really want to see what it would be like if Hajime and Makoto had love scene hotels like Shuichi did in VR3. The love suite scenes, what would they be like? If they'd be crazy as his are, but more down to earth. Especially with Makoto and the Makoto Makoto scene. Or another funny one would be Hajime and Yoko. Crazy people. Oh God. But yes, that's what fanfics are for.
Yep.
Wait till I spoiled up the top. If you want to, it's up to you. Only people will know about it are the people who watch this video. My series basically, since I already mentioned the Digimon thing, but since they're going to be online, really, and they're as their avatars, it's open for anything, really, because the internet's a big place to explore. I will say I am going to have Makoto attempt the rescue attempt, which will bring in Kiki in the future, which will and that will bring in the Steins Gate crossover with the Time Leap Machine, if anyone knows what a Time Leap Machine is. But yeah, and have Kiki do a little time travel to save her parents in the past.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah, so I had started a series called Witchcrest, but never got. I meant to review it and stuff, but at the time I was like super tired from work and so I never got around to it. So hopefully in the future, with he's more confidence, he can upload it again. How about you? Have you ever had a series that you started and you're like, nah, never mind?
That would be most of my past fanfics.
Oh, goody, Kenny's back. And off topic, yes, it was a hoax, but they discovered it was a hoax and they got rid of him. So yeah, still nothing to do with the subject. you want to talk about, go over to Gets It Gibbons channel and talk about there, or Dapper Dino's channel, or my series about primates, podcast series about primates. So yeah, nothing to do with this topic. Can you understand? So yeah. Don't know if you're a troll pretending to do this, or you really believe this stuff. But anyways, well, like I said, I wrote the links in the everyone's links in the chat. Check them out. Check out their series and join me this Tuesday as I interview the musician Smash Adams. Talk about his music. Never stop learning. Enjoy the randomness. I'll see y'all next time. Bye.
Bye.